Hello, and welcome to a rather unusual video. Usually I do reviews and things. Today is not that. Today I just wanted to basically pose a question, which is, why doesn't Four Roses make a rye? Why don't they make a rye? All right, so I'm going to pour 2 glasses. One is just going to be a glass of good old Four Roses single barrel. This is from their recipe number 1. And the other, I'm going to actually have to break out my measuring cup for this one. It's going to be a vatting, roughly 1-to-1, of this same Four Roses single barrel with some MGP rye. This is an old bottle, but they've changed the labeling since I bought this. But a bottling of James E. Pepper 1776. So basically, MGP sourced, 95% rye whiskey, at high proof, barrel proof. There we go. So I got my little vatting here. I'm going to put this in glass number 2. We'll come to these glasses in a second. All right. So back to my question. Why the hell doesn't Four Roses make a rye? If you sort of think to yourself about all the major big distilleries in Kentucky, right? Pretty much all of them make a rye. Wild Turkey makes a rye, my personal favorite distillery. Bee makes a rye. Heaven Hill makes a whole series of different ryes. Even Woodford Reserve these days is making its own rye. The only other exception I can think of would be the Barton Distillery, which is part of the rather inscrutable Sazerac Empire. So, you know, they may be making a rye and I just don't know about it. But so far as I know, they don't make a rye. So they're kind of the exception. But Four Roses doesn't make a rye for some reason. And you would, given the fact that they've got 2 mash bills and like 5 different yeast strains for a total of like 10 recipes, you would think they would squeeze in like a rye mash bill somewhere, but they haven't. So this episode is basically just throwing the question out there: why is this not happening? What is the problem? Jim Rutledge, former master distiller at Four Roses, retired 6 years ago. Four Roses, of course, under Kieran ownership. But Rutledge retired, and since then he has gone on to do a hell of a lot of rye making. So it does pose the question, like, maybe he was trying to make a rye and Kieran just didn't let him do it. What the hell is going on? Anyways, let's go to these different glasses and see what's going on. I've already reviewed this bottle. This is a Four Roses single barrel from warehouse T5, I think it is, maybe TS. Barrel number 35-6B. And so recipe number 1, of course, as all the single barrels are. And it's just class. I mean, so again, I am a little bit, ride or die for Wild Turkey, if you sort of put a gun to my head. But even I can admit that Wild Turkey is a little bit weird. It has an earthy characteristic. It has like a cologne perfumey characteristic, which can kind of turn people off. And Four Roses has a ton of character, but it is also bringing in the modern oaky aspect in a way that, for the most part, with the exception of like the Russell Reserve series in particular, Wild Turkey isn't doing so much. So yeah, I am getting a little hints of that perfumey cologne-y thing, a little earthiness, a little sourness actually, a little like corn sour on this, which I like very much. That's kind of my thing with bourbon. I want the weird aromatics. I want the sour notes. But I think what everyone else wants is kind of on this nose too. The nutshells, the kind of marzipan candy nutty thing going on. There's lots of confectionery notes going on. Um, the cherry, the vanilla, the ice cream, the kind of cinnamony, like cinnamon toast crunch kind of notes going on, all mixed in with this with the weird rye bread thing and the sour corn and those little hints of like old school post-war cologne. It's all there and it works very well. This is a classical bourbon. It's weird. It has those little hints of weirdness that make it appealing to a nerd like me. But I mean, it's also like I wouldn't be scared to hand this to someone who likes to chase the pappies, if you know what I mean. Just really well made. Lots of tea notes going on. Confectionery, tea notes, some cherry going on. But then, off on the side, those little weird notes. So, very successful bourbon, right? And you can find it anywhere, anywhere. Hit your local grocery store. They probably have a bottle of, if not the single barrel, the standard Four Roses blend, the small batch. They got something Four Roses there. So again, I return to my initial question: why aren't they making a rye? Rye is an expanding category. Rye is kind of growing right now. Everyone wants to throw some rye in their cocktails. So why not just distill some rye? I mean, there's some reason why you wouldn't, right? You'd have to throw it into a cask and wait a couple of years, right? At least 4 years, maybe. You could also do something like, source some stuff. Why shouldn't, I mean, if Dickel can source rye from MGP, why not Four Roses? I mean, they could blend it with some of their own stuff, right? And still keep that crucial 51% rye percentage. And, sell it as their own Boer rye, Four Roses Boer rye, why not? Although I think High West has probably copyrighted that term at this point. But something like that. In the meantime, while they're waiting for their stocks to mature, why not? I would buy it because I believe in the integrity of the distillery. And incidentally, both Four Roses and MGP have that history with Seagrams. So they're kind of siblings from that weird Seagrams family relationship. So what I've done the past couple of days, because I got bored, was just I got thinking, what the hell would a Four Roses rye even taste like? What would the characteristics be? I would think that they would be, doing that same balance between, the weirdness, the weird appeal to spirit nerd like me of classical bourbon, but at the same time, bringing in some of the, and also the sort of modern oaky characteristics that everyone seems to be chasing after, but translated into rye. So we're bringing in some of those dill characteristics, the spicy, grainy pepperiness of that other style. So all I've done with this, it ain't simple. You can do this at home. Get yourself a bottle of MGP rye. I've gone James E. Pepper because that's what I use, and blend it in with your Four Roses. And what you get is really delightful, actually. So I'm getting the kind of magisterial, desserty style of Four Roses at the front of this. The cherry notes, the kind of dessert croissant notes. But they're balanced off against these seriously vegetal rye notes that you get from a 95% rye that like MGP. So you're getting, a little bit of dillweed, a little bit of sort of sautéed asparagus, but that the oak, the fresh oak, just kind of layers over everything like an overcoat. I mean, this is what the standard single barrel is. What 35% rye. The pepper is 95%. So you cut the difference, considering the pepper is a little bit stronger. You're getting something that should be around 60% rye or so. And that's what's coming through in this glass. There's a little seediness. There's a sunflower seed characteristics coming through. Some a lot of like rye bread with caraway seed coming through. I mean, it works very, very well. It works even better when you add water to it, which is what I'm going to do in a second. On the palate, oh God, that's good. Yeah, I mean, the moment you sort of put this on your tongue, you start to regret, like, why aren't they making this like officially? Because again, it's a balance. The Four Roses single barrel, the bourbon, is already a balance between the classic confected notes of modern bourbon versus those weird, side notes of the sours, the perfumey aromatics. This manages to keep, even with we're having the oaky confected content of this technically, but this manages to keep the feel of something very approachable, very oaky, very brown sugary, vanilla'd, nutty, cherry, like more cherry wood, more the wood than the actual like fruit. We're keeping all of that, but we're sort of balancing that off against this intense, spicy, grainy note from the rye. Yeah, that is fantastic. I'm not even gonna like bother with the eyedropper this time. I'm just gonna dump some water in. Like this is making my palate salivate. It makes me want to make this stuff into an old fashioned. Is what this does. Terrific comment. I mean, we all do this sort of blending spirits at home thing, right? Because we're bored. We have too many bottles open. Why not? This works really well. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the sort of common, Seagram's lineage. I don't know. I don't know exactly what it is, but this particular combination, just of MGP rye and Four Roses Recipe 1, works extremely well. I'm so excited. I'm splashing this all over myself. All right, back to it with a little bit of water. The aromatics get a bit more dusty. We're bringing up some some trail dust now. And it's just, I mean, this just tastes like really, really good rye. Again, very approachable. We've got the wood sugar, all that stuff going on. But the slight floral characteristics, the vegetalness, the spiciness going on as well. Yeah, I mean, if Four Roses wanted to sell, this combination of their own stuff with sourced MGP stuff in the grocery store, I would buy the hell out of it. I would buy the heck out of, what would you even call it? Like 4 Rossvilles? Let's go with that. I would buy 4 Rossvilles. But insofar as this, more interesting for me is this provides some hint of what a Four Roses style rye from their own, stock would taste like. It would be terrific, and frankly I don't know why it exists already. It feels like this just occurred to me a couple of days ago, and now that it has, it feels like there's a hole in the world. Why doesn't this, what I have in the glass here, why doesn't this not exist anywhere but inside this glass? I don't know, but I'm enjoying my little homemade version of Four Roses rye, nevertheless. And I don't want to know what to say beyond that. This is extremely good. If you have the materials at your home, give it a shot on your own. Yeah, the sort of the slight perfumey notes from the Four Roses is starting to mingle with the more vegetal notes from the MGP, and it just works really, really well. That's a terrific nose. Yeah. Four Roses, if you're watching, I don't know why you're watching, because you're a huge distillery and I am a channel with 700 odd subscribers at this point. But first of all, thanks for watching. And second of all, like, make this thing that I have in my glass here. Make this rye, please. I will give you money right now, and I will pick it up in 4 years when it's done. Anyways, thank you for watching, and cheers.